Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. Boy, it's been like a year and a half. I still have a hard time speaking that all out in one shot. We are coming to you live from all different parts of the country. I am in beautiful New York. Bob Koch is in going to die soon, Florida, and representing Liberal City is Phil Ambrose. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome.
Hello.
What number is this, Mike? What number show?
We've got.
Remember when we used to count?
Yeah, Jesus, we've got to be in the 80s.
Like, how many months have we been going out?
Almost a year and a half. I think we did 52 in January. So
we'll start doing it by years now.
This is the 2017 show. Lots of great stuff happened. I know on my end we had Baltimore, which was fantastic. Bill, what do you got going on?
Oh, I lived vicariously through everybody. Thanks for all the texts and stuff. Could not make it to Baltimore. Had a pretty intense event to go to, but I heard so many good things about your class, which I caught live on the Facebook or the live repeat. I heard Jason's class went off the hook, and I know Kevin Ryan also taught, and I guess Bobby and you, which was great stuff, and missed the party, but happy we could be there in some sort of alcohol content spirit. But yeah, it looked like the pictures and stuff I got were great. It was awesome.
For those that don't know, Phil was out there. They had a brother that died, so he was doing the line of duty funeral. So keep that firefighter in your prayers.
It was and you know what? A quick public service announcement. Just make sure all your affairs are in order. I'm not saying it had anything to do with this one, but we don't ever think about it. But if you had a life-changing event, new kid, new wife, new anything, it's something we were talking about today, just in general, because you don't want that stuff to happen. You don't necessarily plan on it, but then just make sure all your paperwork's in order. But yeah, pretty tragic deal.
There were a lot of interesting conflicts during 9/11 where ex-wives were still on the, what do you call it?
As beneficiaries or whatever?
Yes, beneficiaries, and they had gotten remarried, and there was definitely a couple messes. So yeah, try to keep up with that stuff. I'm sure I don't, but you should.
And as long as I'm on this bandwagon, the other public service announcement, we now use our exposure reporting is now online. It can't get any easier. Our union pays for it, and you went to a car fire, you went to a hazmat, you just type in this, that, the other thing. They give you a yearly report. It's all there. Exposure reporting. Don't be lazy about it. You end up with cancer. I don't care what state you're in. It's still, even in California, it's still going to be a pain in the neck to prove. So that was my public service announcement.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Bob, they let you out of your white room filled with boxes?
Yes, it's only because I got to go to work. So I will be in the white room of boxes for about 2 or 3 more months until the new digs are built. So
wow,
very nice.
Yeah,
exciting stuff.
See what happens.
Very cool. Well, I guess there was some interesting stuff that happened through one of the Facebook feeds that we're all part of. Bob, you want to catch us all up to speed on what we saw and what was going on?
Yeah, and I'm gonna butcher his name. So you guys, if you guys got his name better than I do, please say it. Paulo? Is that right?
Well, I believe so. Paulo.
So
not Esposito.
Yeah, and in the Hazmat Group 2 page that we have, he shared in a couple other places of what we thought, what everybody thought was a nitric acid tanker that was fuming. And we didn't get it on here in time today, but maybe we can upload it and show it next week or something or whatever. But it was interesting, and it was in like the Czech Republic. So to see this orangish plume coming off of it, I'd never seen anything like it. Having no idea what type of tank, takers they use and the material that they're made of and how long they were going to last. They basically cordoned off this area, and but from what we would have done, as far as evacuations and everything else, they had minimal. There was like a playground. It seemed to me like 150 feet away, and there was this pluming, um, uh, again, nitric acid. But what we did was we played around with a little bit on the Facebook pages. What PPE would you wear? What air monitoring would you do? And first off, what is it? You see this orangish, gaseous stuff coming out of a tanker. What's your first thoughts on that? No, and again, this is in Czech Republic of somewhere with no placards. So obviously, we would hopefully have placards, but we all know we can't rely on them 100%. So what are you going to do when you see something like that? A lot of people went right for nitric acid, but is there anything else that might cause a orange fuming cloud to be dispersed? You're the chemical wizard. I know that, so you got to know.
I would say yes, only because recently we smuggled in large quantities of fireworks, and in there is smoke bombs, orange smoke bombs, and when you burn the orange smoke bombs, they relieve almost similar looking, product. So there are chemicals out there that are going to react and produce an orange smoke. What that chemical would be off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure. I think I would approach this like any other unknown. Have my meters, have my pH paper, and approach and see what they told me. And if I'm approaching it and I'm getting nothing on pH, then I don't know. Maybe it's not fuming nitric acid. Maybe it's just a giant smoke bomb.
So, what about PPE?
Again, unknown. I'm going to go with bunker gear until my toxicity tells me otherwise, or my pH paper, or something along those lines. That's probably what I would start to approach in that direction. I always like to put on my bunker gear first.
Phil, what do you think?
Bunker gear, even with the orange tang showing, I'm still I'm going to protect my respiratory airway, and I'm going to protect myself the best I can from, say, explosion/fire, because I still don't know that it's something that's going to release hydrogen. Safe distance. It reminds me of the knock down a plume scenario by Jeff Z, with some great articles on Hazmat Nation on can you effectively knock down this plume. We had really good discussions, remember, not just with Jeff, with can you really do that? Does it work? It's kind of like the old leaking chlorine cylinder. Can you just throw it into the pool and forget about it?
All right.
Yeah. So, and that's a classic. If that doesn't qualify, so what if there was somebody, I don't know, trapped or in the cab? What about that? Now what?
Yeah, and I would almost, it's funny, we throw on PPE, we throw on plastic, and there's a sense of protection, right? And I know for myself, I very rarely go to the compatibility charts to see what the thing is, to see whether or not it's compatible. But we have a certain feeling like we put on the plastic, we're protected from the chemical. But now I'm approaching an unknown that's really giving off a lot. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong in any way, but it is definitely something to think about. And I have now kind of forgotten that my chemical protective clothing might be limited in an unknown chemical. Like that chemical might not be compatible with the suit that I'm wearing. And I don't know. In some regards, that gives you kind of a false sense of security that may not be there. Bunker gear, you're always reminded that you are not chemically protected.
I like the fact that at least, realistically, most teams aren't showing up first on scene in their hazmat rig in this. And let's say you happen to be driving your district and you roll up and you have all that equipment with you. Even on your best day, suiting up inside the rig, getting into that PPE is gonna take a little bit of time. So I like the thought process. Doesn't mean to say that you're not gonna switch it up, but you've got to at least you're not necessarily making an entry. You're making a recon, and you're getting some more information, and you're starting by at least protecting yourself the best that you can, and swiftly, if you will.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's funny because I was thinking bunker gear also, and there was a lot of people that said level A
right off the bat.
right off the bat.
Well, I think a lot of people get sucked in. And I don't know if it's instructors doing it. Of you hear how often do you hear level A is the highest level of protection? For what? Highest. I mean, um, it is a level of protection. It's a highest level in of a certain type of protection, but and we've done over the years, some rapid deployment of donning level A, but I'd say for the most part, it's not a very fast process. And if you're doing it real fast, it's what's the saying? Nobody ever makes a save in a level A. Or at least it's not very common. But
Right.
I noticed that too. A lot of
It happen.
I was looking for Jay-Z's article on the knocking down the plume only because I don't know if that came up in that discussion, Bob, but the other one of get a water supply and hit it with a deck gun
Right.
discussion, which
Yeah.
Could have really negative consequences because let's say this is water soluble and it's 50% water soluble. Now I have half the product in the air, probably enough to hurt somebody. And now I've got products running around the world, not the world, but running down the street. I got runoff. I've got 2 uncontrollable spills instead of just 1.
Yeah, and this is I'm sorry for the rudimentary way we're doing this, but here's the guy on top of the rail car in his rubber suit and an APR, and he's still got some fuming going on, which is just fascinating to me.
I wonder what it was.
Supposedly it was nitric acid.
It was nitric acid, huh?
That's what I'm seeing in different places, but I haven't confirmed that 100% yet. But
see, now
so
that's
interesting.
We need to send you on a fact-finding mission to Siberia. You'll go. That's some crazy stuff.
I see Bob says I disagree with the bunker gear due to what we're looking at in the video. I'm specifically talking about we are getting there. We're getting off the rig. We're kind of doing primary searches. I would not do what that guy was doing in bunker gear. By that point, we will have pulled back and created a game plan, and most likely move forward in some sort of protective clothing. But I always fall back on the bunker gear as your initial recon. Figure out your zone. Where can we go? Where can't we go? Maybe get some information on the product, get a little close, and then pull back and figure out what we're going to do from there.
Yeah, and like you said, using your air monitoring, your pH paper, and whatever you approach it changes, and obviously you stop and then you regroup and step it up a notch or two. But yeah, there was people within one of the other parts of that video. There was people within 20 feet with nothing on. So you pull up and you see everybody standing there with nothing, no PPE. I would think bunker gear and SCBA would be good enough for at least a recon, start evacuations around the place. Like I said, our evacuation zones would have been a lot bigger than what they had. So
yeah. Places like that generally don't care about the people though. So
no, not too much. So anyway, that was just an interesting run that somebody shared on the internet that got a pretty good discussion from a bunch of different people. So everybody that chimed in, appreciate it. It was good, nice. Good talk.
Yeah, it's always good to get back and forth. Are always fantastic. So
yeah,
trying to think.
Some good stuff. I was going to say there was the podcast that dropped on fentanyl, carfentanil, right?
Yes, just did that one out today? We've got a bunch of fentanyl ones. We went and we turned around to about 3 or 4 different fentanyl people, and they all had different opinions and thoughts, and we just interviewed them. And we got as much information as we possibly could, and a lot of differing opinions. So it's good because, listen to them and try to draw your own conclusion. The one guy was extraordinarily adamant that, it's level A all the way. And, and You're kidding me, right? So,
Yeah.
definitely form your own opinion, but at least form an educated one.
Amen.
That is, Dave Milstein wrote a real nice article we did a couple weeks ago in Hazmat Nation, and that's been. It's funny being here on the West though, because you guys have been talking about it for weeks, if not months, and there was a website. I should have put it on Hazmat Nation. There was a website. It was a cop website that was kind of tracking the overdose responses and all that stuff. But the latest too, I saw that report that there was fentanyl found in weed. So, and in autopsies for people that, because a lot of the weed smokers will tell you can't OD on it. Well, and then a few of the busts that came around. But I bring it up because on our rig there was a discussion of whether or not to remove all of our paramedic gear, which is like, no, we're not taking our heart drugs and our Narcan off the rig. If we may just need that for ourselves, for not necessarily for the public, as we'll have other resources there. But I wanted to bring up the podcast stuff because I have not listened to any of them yet, but I plan to.
Yeah, we had, and the guy that I disagreed with, I called out on, and I was like, I'm letting you know right now that I completely disagree with you. So I'm giving you the option to voice your opinion and say why you believe, what you believe. I still wasn't convinced after talking with him, and yeah, I don't feel like he was as. I don't feel like he was as up to speed on the research as other people that we interviewed who were like, what do you mean? We've been doing fentanyl decon research for 20 years. So it's good. I would listen to them.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's coming. If it's not in your area yet, it will be there soon.
All right. And we have in the side form here, we have Crystal. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing it right. I think she's from Australia, so I may have to do it with an Australian accent. I'm not sure. But we had a truck accident where there was a mixed load, 4 by 200 liters. Yeah, definitely Australia using liters. Drums of nitric acid on a pallet went into the drains, and they had clouds of smoke coming out the street. So I'm asking her, what did you guys do for that? That sounds like an absolutely awesome run to hear about. And I wouldn't even know where to start with that. They made sure that
Wow.
the drains could be blocked down the street. They used the 200-liter drums with soda ash slurry, which they tipped down the drains wearing a level A. Haha, yeah, it's from Australia. Oops, drains, not drains. No problem. I'll go with the accent. I knew what you were talking about. So you guys, they made a slurry, and they did almost like a really crude neutralization right into the drain. That work. That sounds awesome.
That
Wow.
I wonder where did it eventually go? Did that once it went into the drains? Does that go to like a what we would have a water treatment plant, or did you have to notify somebody down the line, or did you just stop it in one area? Crystal.
And we're on a 10-second delay, everybody. So
You have to say mate. They're from Australia.
might.
Mate.
And
If the
waiting
CDC
for her to respond.
recommends we work with the environment.
We could get the pumped out flow environment. Oh, great! So they had a plan. They went right to a certain holding pond. Excellent.
All right. I wonder if you work with Rick Owen. And then the other comment, if the CDC, I think that's where I saw it, and I know there's even something somebody put up on our fridge, recommends level A for entry. Does it put me at risk as a company officer for saying level B?
Well,
it's a good point.
If you're gonna play in that product, right? I mean, it's one thing to do a recon. It's one thing to go and do a support. It is something totally different to walk into that kind of cloud to mitigate and 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 not be in the proper protection. And I would venture to say that level A would be the right call for that one. Nitric acid is really, really nasty stuff. The vapors will burn your skin rather rapidly. If there was ever a situation that called for a level A entry, it would definitely be fuming nitric acid. So yeah, I would say that there would be some serious liability about having your guys go mitigate in a level B. Don't forget, when we talk about all these different going in and bunker gear, we are literally referring to the early stages of the thing, where we're just figuring stuff out. Once we're actually getting involved with the product and in that kind of plume and neutralizing right up against it, you want to be in the suit that's going to protect for the danger. And nitric gas is definitely
Oh,
a
10.
level A entry. Oh, we lost Phil, and he's back.
There.
Yeah,
Was
10
Trevor
minutes.
was Trevor talking about the nitric acid, or was he talking about the fentanyl?
Oh, he was talking about, maybe you were talking about the fentanyl. All right, so
But that's a good point. Not to sound like a lawyer. What do they do in press conferences? We cannot confirm or deny. We have no accurate. But like Mike said, because I think we're on the same page there, is that recon. Because it's really easy to just say, oh, we're going to level A all the way. Like, okay, have you done that? Have you dressed out? Do you see what that takes? And I'm going, if I rolled up, I might say, if we were the first ones there in the engine, yeah, turnouts, BA, recon, whatever it is. If that was regarding the fentanyl, I think anything that we do in the fire service requires that continuous size up, whether it's EMS and you're taking vitals every 10 minutes, which says as long as you can justify it, meaning even the nitric acid, it's not a truck, it's a 1 gallon, laboratory, which would have been a poly-lined glass bottle that probably didn't break because it's all held together. We used to throw them against the wall at the chemistry building. Yeah, you might not be suiting up in level A for that, but you did your continuous size up assessment based on the information you got. That is where, as a company officer, you earn these, and you're able to say that is why. If you chose level B for the fentanyl, it might be because somebody had already been in the room. It was contained. It wasn't a 30-mile-an-hour wind going through or crazy. It wasn't versus a lab. It's not just the product, and then you pick A, B, or C. It's all of those factors combined.
or hold on, damn cough won't go away. Let's say, like, I could turn around and justify it in a situation and say, yeah, there was a 30-mile-an-hour wind. There was powder everywhere. It was like a fentanyl snowstorm. But you know what? I have this decon solution that has been proven to deactivate fentanyl within 2 minutes. I spray it on my soft cloth for the SCBA. I spray it on my guys. I'm relatively comfortable. Science says that this stuff works. With that being said, what is really my risk versus the risk of going into level A? So yeah, I piggybacking on what Phil said. It's a recommendation, but it is ultimately
Authority having jurisdiction.
Yeah, and so the CDC, whatever say they recommend, hey, we recommend, we're that, and I see, I'm so jealous of the agencies that are wearing shorts and polo shirts, but we wear turnouts on just about anything. So now it's 110 degrees out, humid, and now you're gonna, you're taking the same logic and saying, we're going to do it this way. There's times where you might adjust. So just remember, lots of factors, and as long as you can back it up. And the hardest part is when you're in that first initial, if there's a rescue, because then we have to do something immediate. Other than that, we go back, we step back. But all of those things, and it always bothers me if anybody blanket says, now would you level A for that? Maybe, but make sure you don't skip all the steps. In fact, it's always sitting here nearby so I can grab it, but got to give him a plug because he's in 120 degree heat right now. Or actually, he was in San Francisco's Hazmat response guide. Just a good, quick, easy way to go about it. And a checklist I still use. I have one on the rig too.
One of the classes that we did in Baltimore was the Hazmat Mad Libs, which was probably the funniest of the classes. But it shows, we're able to sit and show how, you just tweak one or two parts of the situation, and we go from a level A to a level B, or a level B to a level C, or a level C to a level A. So don't forget, Hazmat is all about it depends, and the hardest part is learning when it depends and when it doesn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, true. If somebody gets hurt, they're going to be looking at all your records and they're going to be checking your decisions. So be very methodical. That's why you see airline pilots walking around the plane every time they take off, checking everything. I mean, it's that critical. They check that stuff an hour before, but they're going to do it again. Cool stuff. I want to bug out now so I don't interrupt the show because we have to go to a detail. So I apologize, but good discussion.
Sweet.
Have a good one. Be safe.
Hopefully I'll give you better bandwidth. Everybody, catch us online. And I'm going to split. Thanks.
All right, Bob, we had a trailer on the mast pipe with both nitric acid and sulfuric acid totes leaking to the front of the trailer, 6 inches. Severe reaction going on, I would imagine it would. We used 4 pallets of bicarbonate. In the end, pumped out 3 totes. The temperature was 122 degrees in the side box. Holy crap.
Wow.
That sounds like a pretty cool run. Again, constantly asking for these runs that you have to be audio archived. Nobody steps up and does it. And here we have 2 runs that would be a fantastic run to have. Okay, to have on. To have audio archive for everybody to listen to and learn from. So, will you two please reach out to me and set up a time that we can interview you and learn all about this run that you had?
Yeah, that's what part of one of the podcasts? What's the title for that? That's the Hot Wash, right?
Yep.
Hot Wash for the Hazmat Guys podcast. Yeah, and I listened to all of them, and it's great listening to the people that were actually there.
Yeah, I have yet to have a hot wash where I didn't learn stuff from. It is absolutely phenomenal, and those 2 would be absolutely perfect. So reach out to me, Mike. Bobby is behind. Oh, hot.
Talking about your dog, yeah.
My one-eyed rescue coonhound.
Awesome. Well, that was good stuff.
Yeah, we're reaching that half-hour mark, which we promised that we would keep everything to. Bob, how can they get a hold of you?
You can get me at hzmtlt@gmail.com or hzmtlt at Twitter. You guys be safe. And like Mike said, if you have a cool run that you want to get interviewed, definitely get with Mike. He'll give you his information because I've listened to a bunch of those hot washes and, it's stuff that you could bring back to around the firehouse and talk to your guys.
And I think you still have one that we have to do, don't you?
Yeah.
We do have one.
Oh, yeah. No, we haven't done the one. The
tanks
in the building explosion. Yeah, we got another one we got to do.
So, and you don't have to use your name. You don't have to use your department. And I can change your voice in the audio production to make you completely anonymous. And you can come from wherever fire department, from wherever you want to be. We just are looking to get information out there, bad, good, lessons learned, things you would have done differently, all that stuff. I can't even tell you the amount of good information that actual experience does. And yeah, I'll change your Australian accent, maybe. I'll make it sound like a guy. Unless you already sound like a guy. I don't know. I haven't talked to you, so you might. All right, everybody.
Awesome.
I'm Michael Monaco. You can reach me at Mike at the Hazmat Guys. You can listen to any of our podcasts through however the hell you get your podcast. Or you can just jump on the Hazmat Guys website, hazmatguys.com. I love you all, and I will see you next week.
Be safe.
If you're not going to be safe, record it.